Hi there. This video is an exam paper walkthrough of the Eduqas GCSE Mathematics Foundation Tier Component 1 paper from autumn 2022. This paper is worth 120 marks in total, and this is the first video of 6. It will focus on questions 1 to 5, which account for 23 of these marks. Eduqas Component 1 papers are non-calculator, so a calculator should not be used. A little disclaimer, there may be more than one way to answer a question. The methods shown in this video are not the only way some mathematical skills can be applied. Okay, let's get started. Question 1a, work out 3 times 19. So I'm going to partition this. I'm going to split 19 into 10 and 9, and I'm going to work out 3 times both of those values. So 10 times 3 is 30. 9 times 3 is 27, and then I'm going to add those together to get my final answer. 0 plus 7 is 7, 3 plus 2 is 5, so 57 is my answer. Part B, work out 3.162 plus 10.57. So we're adding decimals here, so we need to be really careful. We're going to write out the column method, but we're going to make sure that our place value and our decimal points line up. So we have 3.162 and we are adding 10.57. The decimal point has got to line up. This 3 is in the ones or the units column, which is where that 0 needs to be. So that's how I'm going to write 10 and then the 57 underneath. Now we don't have to put anything here, but you can put a placeholder 0 to complete that column if you want to. And then we're just going to add as normal. 2 plus 0 is 2. 6 plus 7 is 13. So I'm going to write the units, carry the 10. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 5 is 7. My decimal point is going to match the decimal points above it. 3 plus 0 is 3. 1 plus, there's a 0 there, technically, is 1. And 13.732 is our answer. Part C, again, we are working out, so we are calculating 8 add 6 divided by 2, but we need to remember order of operations, guys. We have to do the division before we can do the addition. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, so we are actually doing 8 plus 3, which is 11. Part D, write 18 over 24 in its simplest form. So we're looking for a factor of 18 and a factor of 24, a number that we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by that has to be the same. So 18 and 24 are both even numbers, so I'm going to start by dividing them by 2. Doesn't matter if we do this in multiple steps. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Remember, when you're dividing by 2, you're halving. Now I'm going to check if this is in its simplest form or not. So 9 and 12 are both in the 3 times table, so I can divide the numerator and denominator by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Check if it's in its simplest form again, guys. 3 and 4, the only common times tables they appear in are the 1 times tables. So that's our final answer in its simplest form. Part E, write 0.32 as a percentage. So currently it's a decimal. We want to write it as a percentage. So to write a percentage as a decimal, a decimal as a percentage, we multiply it by 100. So we're going to do 0.32 multiplied by 100. When we're multiplying by 100, okay, all of these digits are going to shift to the left 2 places. So 0.32 becomes 32. And then the next one, write down a value that is less than negative 10. So think about how a number line works here, guys, okay? That's what's important. So we have a number line. And let's put negative 10 there. Numbers going this way on the number line are getting closer to 0. So that would be negative 9, negative 8, negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, and it would go all the way up to 0. Okay, those numbers are greater than negative 10. We want less than negative 10, so we want a number on this side. The next number on the number line would be negative 11, so that's the number that I'm going to go with. It's a value less than negative 10. Question 2. The bar chart shows the percentage of households in the UK who owned at least one mobile phone in the years 2000 and 2009. So you've got percentage of households, and then the bars tell us our frequency. So this is the bar for 2000, this is the bar for 2009. What was the increase in percentage of households who owned at least one mobile phone from 2000 to 2009? So we need to know how many households in each year to start off with. So we're going to find the total of these bars. So in 2000, if we read across here, in 2000, we've gone 10, 20, 30, 40. Now we need to figure out what this scale is here. So we've got to be really careful. So between 40 and 50 are 10. Okay, 10 households. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. 10 divided by 5 is 2, so each of those lines is worth 2. So we've got 40, 42, 44. So we've got a total of 44 households in 2000. Let's do the same with 2009. So we want to read across, and I'm drawing a line across because it will help me read the scale here, guys. So in 2009 we were at 80, and then we're halfway between these lines. Well, each line is equal to 2, so halfway between must be 1. So that is 81. So in 2009, there were 81 households. So we want the difference between them. We want that increase in the percentage of households. So how many more in 2009 compared to 2000? So we're going to subtract those two values. 1 subtract 4, we can't do that and get a positive value. So we're going to borrow here to make that 11. 11 subtract 4 is 7. 7 subtract 4 is 3. So the percentage increase is 37%. Part B. In 2018, 95% of households in the UK owned at least one mobile phone. Complete the bar chart. Okay, so 2000 is 44%. Remember, it's the percentage. 2009 is 81%. 2018, this next bar is 95%. So I'm going to draw this in pen because I want you guys to be able to see it nice and clearly. But remember, in your exam, you will use a pencil, so you can rub it out if you make a mistake. So we're looking at where 95 would be for our 2018 bar. Well, 90 is here. We said each one of these lines is 2. So that's 90, 92, 94. So 95 is going to be halfway. Okay, so we're getting halfway between those two lines. So I'm going to draw our 2018 bar. So that is 95% of households for part B. Part C. Comment on how mobile phone ownership seems to have changed between 2000 and 2018. Okay, so let's have a look. In 2000 it was 44%, in 2009 it's gone up to 81%, and then in 2018 it's gone up again to 95%. So the comment that we can make here about how it's changed between those years is that the percentage of people owning mobile phones seems to have been increasing, or more people or households seem to be owning mobile phones. So let's go with the percentage of people owning mobile phones seems to be increasing because it's gone up every year. Question 3. Sally has 2 sets of cards. So 3 cards have letters on them and 4 cards have numbers on them. So that's our 3 letter cards and our 4 number cards. She shuffles each set and chooses 1 card from each set at random. Complete the table to show all possible pairs of cards. Now what it says here is really important. It says we may not need all the lines in the table. Okay, so be aware of that. They've given us lots of lines, but we might not need to use them all, so don't let that throw you. And they filled in some possible pairs for us already. So they've started with, if they picked a letter A, they could also then pick a number 1. If they picked the letter A, they could also pick the number 2. So we can add that if they picked a letter A, they could also pick the number 3, and they could still pick the letter A, but then also pick the number 4. So at this point, we've dealt with the letter A being picked with each of those numbers. So we're going to do the same with letter B. So if B is picked, they could pick 1, they could pick B and 2, B and 3, B and 4. So we've dealt with the letter B, and we're going to do the same for C now. So they could pick card C with the number 1, C with the number 2, with the number 3, and with the number 4. And you'll see we've got some spaces left, but that's okay. We've dealt with all 3 letters occurring with all 4 numbers each time. Question 4A. So we've got a diagram here with some angles labelled. It's not drawn to scale, so we can't use a protractor and measure anything from it at this point, guys. They want us to find the value of W, so we want to know what that angle there is equal to. So the first thing we need to recognise, okay, is that we are dealing with these intersecting lines. So we're dealing with vertically opposite angles here. So this angle 80 is equal to this total angle opposite on the other side. Now we know what part of that total angle is. It's 65. So that W must be what's left to make 80, because they're vertically opposite. So these two have got to be the same. So if we do 80 subtract 65, that will tell us what W should be. Now we can't do 0 take 5 and get a positive answer. So we're going to borrow from our tens column. 10 take away 5 is 5. 7 take away 6 is 1. So W is equal to 15 degrees. Part B. So here again, we've got another diagram not drawn to scale, so we can't measure anything directly from it. The diagram shows an isosceles triangle, and we know it's an isosceles triangle thanks to it telling us that those two sides are equal by using the dash that you can see there. It wants us to find the value of X and the value of Y, so these two angles here. So it's an isosceles triangle. These two sides are the same. So because those two sides are the same, that tells us that the base angles at the bottom of those sides must also be the same. So this angle and this angle must be equal. So straight away we can say that X is 70 degrees because it's an isosceles triangle and the base angles at the bottom of those equal sides are the same. Now we're going to find Y. Well, angles inside a triangle must add to 180. So we're going to take 70 plus 70, which is 140, and we're going to take that 140 away from 180 to tell us what Y is. So 180 take away 140 is 40 degrees. So we're going to pop there, Y is 40 degrees. Question 5. Matt has 120 music albums. 3/5 of his albums are CDs. 15% of his albums are vinyl records. The rest of his albums are digital downloads. How many of Matt's albums are digital downloads? So we need to find out how many are CDs, how many are vinyl records, and then subtract that from the total to figure out what the rest of them are, or how many the rest is, I should say. And then that's our digital download. So we're going to start by finding 3/5 of 120. So 3/5 of 120. So to find a fraction of amount, we're going to divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator. So divide by the bottom, multiply by the top. So we're going to start by doing 120 divided by 5. So let's do our 5 times tables to help us out. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We'll just stop there for now. So we're going to do 5s into 12. So 5, 10. So we're going to stop there, otherwise we go past 12. So that's 1, 2 whole 5s. And then the remainder to get from 10 to 12 is 2. So I'm going to pop a 2 there. So now I'm doing 5s into 20. 1, 2, 3, 4 gets us to exactly 20. There's no remainder. So 120 divided by 5 is 24. But we now need to multiply by 3. So 24 multiplied by 3. I'm going to partition this. I'm going to do 20 multiplied by 3 and 4 multiplied by 3 to split it a little. 20 multiplied by 3 is 60. 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. And when I add them together, I get 72. So there are 72 CDs. We're going to need to use that shortly. Okay, 15% of his albums are vinyl records. Okay, so we need to find 15% of the original, guys. So 15% of 120. So 15% of 120. Well, let's split it. Let's find 10% and 5% because 10% plus 5% will give us our 15%. And we can treat it a bit like column addition if we do it this way. Okay, to find 10% then, we divide our amount by 10 because 10 times 10 is 100. So 120 divided by 10 is 12. To find 5%, we find 10% and then half it because 5 is half of 10. Well, 10% is 12 and to half it we divide by 2, so that's 6. 12 plus 6 is 18, so our 15% is 18. So there are 18 vinyl records. We're also going to use that amount again. Okay, so 72 CDs, 18 vinyl records. The rest of them are digital downloads. So CDs plus vinyl records is 90 in total. Okay, so CDs plus vinyls is 90 in total. So we're going to do 120 take away 90. 0 take away 0. 2 take away 9 we can't do and get a positive answer. So we're going to borrow from here to make that 12. 12 take away 9 is 3. So there are 30, because this is the rest, 30 digital downloads.